that dirty town.
And we'll get that overlay off there. Good evening, my beautiful crime family, and I hope everybody's had a good day today. Today, you know what, was probably the best day I've had in a while, like probably in over a month. I actually felt pretty good, and that makes me happy. Good evening, welcome to Once Upon a Crime Time, and I'm your host, Tommy Jude, if you haven't been in here before. And I'm going to say hi to my beautiful crime family. Hey, Crime Spy, good to see you. And Moonflower Laza, my girl, good to see you. Good to see you. Annie Ruler, good to see you, girl. Joey, my brother, good to see you. Randy, my brother, good to see you. Full Moon, good to see you. Thomas, my brother, good to see you. Nikki Watson, good to see you. Typically Unique, good to see you, Kim and Carlos. And you, Teresa, good to see you. Is it Teresa or Teresa? Okay, Teresa, maybe. Miss Macy, good to see you. Elizabeth Wagner, good to see you. Mama Five, good to see you. Debbie Gazzardo, my girl, always good to see you. And Valida Kirkland, good to see you. You always have good questions and good comments. I like that. I like that. You and Terry Martin are good ones. and many more. Everybody has good questions. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting or going by somebody. Jennifer Page, good to see you. Miss Macy, good to see you. Ro, good to see you. Paco, good to see you. Yeah, and Allison, good to see you. And Doc Terry, good to see you. I probably T-Taj, good to see you. I probably doubled up. I don't know. Leslie, good to see you. Yeah. Oh, and everybody. I'd have to keep going and keep going. There's too many. That's a good thing. I like that. I like that. Tonight's going to be different. Don't know if you've seen how I started it. It has nothing to do with how this show's going to go. There's Terry Martin. Good to see you, girl. And right, Terry. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Things going happen. Things are happening, and I should go through that a little bit. Rory is going to be starting a new channel, and so am I. And I think a couple others. I think I'll have to ask Terry that. But we're going to get into trafficking. It's going to be a whole separate channel, and I'm going to start. Rory's page will be up and running in October. I think that's what he posted on his thing. And but I'm going to start because I already started with the highway that has no end. So I'm going to it'll probably be this next coming week. I'll be running some shows again, and I might be starting right in my own backyard with a girl that disappeared, a Native American girl that disappeared 10 miles from me, right over that way. And it's been a couple of years now, and I know her. I know the mother. I know her mother. So I might be starting there. Anyway, it's an exciting new thing, and there's much more to what I'm to this. I have to sit here and talk for a few hours probably to tell you everything, and I'm not going to do that. So slowly and surely, it will be coming out. The Tate brothers. Who's the Tate brothers? The Tate brothers. Who's that, Terry? No, I didn't see that. Terry's got. Did you see the Tate brothers got busted for human trafficking? Who's the Tate brothers? What Tates are you talking about? Who's the Tate brothers, Terry? Oh, Terry. I'm trying to think. Who's she talking about? Tate brothers. Well, yeah, I'm telling you this. This child trafficking and human trafficking in general, and trafficking of everything, is getting out of hand. And the reason that I'm going with this channel is because of the Native American aspect, but not just that. It's because it's getting too widespread. And these billionaire oligarchs are controlling this shit. Just like Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire. People, when they think of things, we all need to use common sense. It isn't the millionaires that are controlling stuff. The millionaires are the ones that might be buying, as in, like, let's say it's human trafficking. They might be the ones buying these little girls for a night or two or whatever, but they're not the ones in charge of. It's the billionaires. It's the billionaires, and ones that everybody, that people know. I mean, it's that big. And I'm going out on a line. I'm going to expose shit. I'm out to expose shit, and that's what I'm going to be doing. And so, but I'm gonna run by it because I wanted to. What's crazy about this? Rory and I could run keep it going, or run like 3 shows a night, each of us, every night, and keep going for the rest of our lives, and we'd never get through the missing from trafficking. It is getting that awful, and it's starting to control, because, the people that have the money in the drugs also have the money in the trafficking, because there's more money in human trafficking than there is in drugs. I'm wondering if I'm going to get shut down on this video. You know what I mean? And maybe many more to come. I wanted to keep it away from this channel, though, but what Terry just said there, Andrew Tate is a millionaire social media influencer, and his brother, I bet you he's more than a millionaire, girl. Maybe on the books he's a millionaire. Social media influencer and his brother, they are dirtbags, and it happened in Romania. Yeah, and the thing is, it's going it's worldwide. I mean, it's international, and they run these ports and stuff, and they traffic from these ports all over the United States, and I'm talking like China and Russia and all these countries, and it's getting huge. I mean, it's not getting huge; it is huge. It's the biggest money out there, and it's hi social. Annie says Tates are hosting girls for OnlyFans. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Linda, Kaylee told her dad the same thing. What's that? What am I missing up here? I'm missing a bunch of the chat. I try, it's hard to go. I wish people knew how hard it is to go between the chat and the show. So yeah, hold on here a second, everybody. I'll be right there. Okay, sorry about that, but yeah, it needs to be investigated, and that's why I'm starting the second channel, and I'm going to start out with the missing Native American women, and going from there. And it's going to be called The Highway That It Has No End. It's still going to be called that. I haven't ran it for a while. And we're going to go into the trafficking. But I'll let you know when that new channel is coming out. But, okay, but there's other things we're doing. I did show some pictures, and I wanted to see what you guys thought of this. I'm going to share these, what I was sharing on the last show, I think it was. But let's see right there. Check this out, you guys. What do you think? Wouldn't that be interesting? I want to see what you guys say about that. Miss Macy, yes. Hello there. Hi. Good to see you. Yes, it is a topic that needs to be discussed, and the human trafficking, like I said, is being controlled by billionaires, and I'm going all out on this. Um, so yeah, but I'll let you know when you'll see a thing up, saying when the first show will be. Uh, yeah, here's what Terry Martin, and Terry's involved in this also. And Terry is saying, if anyone would like to get traffic through treasure, Kelly Patterson's book, please let myself, Rory, or Terry. Yeah, I love you all so much for wanting to be and supporting us. Yeah, and we do appreciate the support on this, because the problem is, like with the Native American women, it's not getting enough. It's not getting enough exposure out there of what's going on. The numbers are ridiculous, and I'll be going over that with this first show coming up on my channel. I'm sure Rory will be on his. The numbers are just staggering, and it's not good. And the thing is, it's happening all over the world, and it's international, and it's being controlled by these billionaire oligarchs, and not just ones from other countries. I'm talking right here in the United States too. And like I said, I'm going all out on this. They might take this video down. But I'm going to expose what I can. All of this shit has been, it's almost like you hear about it, but it's not mainstream media. It's not, they're not talking about what's really going on in the trafficking and who's controlling the trafficking. There's more money in the human trafficking than there is in drugs. So, yeah. But tonight we have different subjects. So, but yeah, I wanted to let everybody know that. And, but we're going to get into something else, and I'm hoping I don't get shut down on this for copyright. All right. I'm almost scared to run this. But we do need to get into this also. And what brought this to my attention, of course, is the Idaho 4 case. And it's the law enforcement and FBI are busting these young kids, college kids, and even high school kids, underage kids, like 17 years old. They bust them for a little bit of weed, and then they pressure them to become you might as well just say it, a narc, a snitch, informant, as they call it. And they're ending up dying all over the United States. They're ending up dying. I was shocked when I first started investigating this, and just Google it. I mean, it's everywhere in every city, and it needs to be stopped. They can't. Washington. Okay, put it this way: Washington changed their law. I think it was in 2019 or something. Changed their law where law enforcement can't use people under 16. And I'm going, what? What, they make a law for under 16? Oh, so they can use 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids for informants, and then threaten them because they get busted for a little bit of weed or whatever the hell it is? I mean, it's awful. Yeah, yes, exactly, Thomas. The public needs to be aware of what's going on. And in both of these things that we've been talking about, I didn't want to go to the child trafficking tonight, but we're there. We're there. Anyway, so I'm gonna show what I got here, and if I get shut down, I'll start back up. All right, you know me. I'm gonna challenge it. I'm gonna test it. So I'm just warning you now. If I get shut down on a copyright, I will start the stream over again right away. All right. So here we go.
World in which these.
Oh, there we go. I don't know why it always jumps ahead like that. Okay, it's being slow.
8-month investigation into law enforcement's unregulated use of young confidential informants in drug cases that has led to calls for reform in 4 states. Sarah, how did you discover this story?
Came upon this issue a number of years ago. I'd been looking into a case of a murder and been killed. She told me that they told me that she had been working as an informant for the police, that she'd been getting threats on her life, and that ultimately she wound up, dead in a lake with no sort of accountability. And I began looking at this issue of, what protections exist for informants, and I found out about Rachel's case and Rachel's law. And as I began looking around the country, I started finding other cases in Kentucky and in Washington State and in Detroit with all kinds of people of varying levels of education and varying geographies who had had their lives put at risk in this way.
We're also joined by Alexandra Loyola Law School and author of Your Piece, The Throwaways.
Well, at the beginning of the show, you mentioned Shelley Hilliard, who was a young woman in Detroit, a transgender teenager who was found smoking a bit of pot on a motel balcony. She was basically told, by the police that, if she didn't call her dealer immediately and have him come back to the scene and bring some more drugs, that she'd be incarcerated, which, was particularly troubling for her as a transgender person. Obviously, the implicit threats of sexual violence for someone such as her. She agreed to do this, called the dealer back, and he came and was arrested. And ultimately, it's alleged that the police revealed Shelley's identity to the dealer, who was then let out, I believe, the next day, and came back and smothered her to death with another man and dismembered and set her on fire. So it was a very brutal and traumatic death. Really, for this young woman to escape having been found with an ounce of pot. So that was a very common theme I found, was sort of the risks involved in these cases were often very incommensurate with the charges these people were facing. That was also the case of a young man in Washington State. His name was Jeremy McLean. He was found selling 8 methadone pills, a controlled substance, to a friend who it turned out was working as a confidential informant also. And he signed a contract under pressure to become an informant, and he agreed to do 4 stings ultimately to get him freed of the charges. And not only did he do those 4 stings, but he did another sting after that, and another and another and another after that. Ultimately, he did 14 stings, and he was still not let off. At one point, he got a heroin trafficker behind bars. That guy got out, began threatening his life. Jeremy went to the police for protection and received none, and ultimately was violently murdered as well. So there are just so many instances of people actually crying out for help and protection from police after doing this dangerous work and not receiving it. And then you see these tragic outcomes.
I want to bring Alexandra Natapov into the conversation. Alexandra, you've written extensively on this issue. Can you talk about the increasing use of young confidential informants in American law enforcement, especially when it comes to the war on drugs?
Well, it turns out that the use of criminal informants is a massive part of the way we run our criminal justice system in ways that the public almost never gets to see. It's one of the reasons that this New York article by Sarah Stillman is so important. It really draws back the curtain on a particularly shocking aspect of this larger phenomenon, which is that we permit vulnerable people, like young people, even children, people with substance abuse problems or mental health issues, people who don't know their rights, to be pressured by police and prosecutors into becoming informants in ways that are terribly risky to their health and well-being. This is part of a larger phenomenon. We accord vast discretion to police and prosecutors to create, use, pressure, as well as reward criminal informants in order to gather information and make cases in ways that are almost entirely unregulated, secretive, and unaccountable.
And Alexandra, can you talk about some of the states that have passed legislation to protect informants and what kind of legislation is set to be introduced this month in Washington state?
So there are a number of states that have looked at different aspects of informant regulation. The increased focus on the risks to young and juvenile informants in particular has sparked a great interest around the country. The legislation that is being introduced in Washington state at the moment would, among other things, prohibit the use of informants under the age of 16. At this time, only California has a law that prohibits the use of juveniles under the age of 14. In other states, we permit police and prosecutors to make the decision about whether children should be used as informants and whether they should be exposed to the kinds of risks that Sarah Stillman documents in her New Yorker article. States around the country have also considered other kinds of legislation, not only to protect informants, as Rachel's Law in Florida as a result of the efforts of Margie Weiss and her family, but also to improve the transparency and the accountability that attaches to police and prosecutorial use of informants. Right now, again, it's a largely unregulated and secretive world in which these deals are made at great risk, often to the informants themselves, and great risk to others, members of the community, when these deals are made.
I want to turn to Brian Sally, a police officer who's president of BBS Narcotics Enforcement Training and Consulting, a firm that instructs officers around the country in drug bust procedures. He said, quote, "There's no such thing as training an informant. You direct them what to do, and if they follow those directions, that'll make it safer for them. There's always going to be a risk, but when things go bad, it's usually because they didn't do as they were told to. They get themselves hurt, not the officers. The informants cause their own dilemma." Your response to that, Professor Natapov?
So the law is extremely cavalier about the well-being of informants. Essentially, American law treats informants as assuming the risk of anything that might happen to them in the course of this deal. Again, Sarah Stillman has uncovered how shocking and inappropriate that can be, particularly for vulnerable people who are brought into the criminal system. But the law provides very few protections for people who take this risk and provides vast resources to the government by which to pressure individuals into taking such risks. And it's not only risks to personal health and well-being that the law permits. For example, the law permits the government to pressure individuals, women in particular, into having sex with targets in order to bring people into the criminal justice system so that the government can file charges against them for prostitution and other related charges. In other words, the law says that almost anything is negotiable. Nothing is off the table. Parents can become informants and take risks in order to work off the charges of their children. Girlfriends can become informants to work off the charges of their boyfriends. Children can be turned into informants to work off the most minor of charges.
We have 5 seconds.
In effect, we've left this arena entirely unregulated, and it's time to bring it into the light.
Alex, thanks so much for watching this report from Democracy Now!, your daily independent global news hour. We don't accept advertising or corporate funding, but rather rely on donations from viewers like you. Please make your contribution by visiting democracynow.org. We need your support today to keep bringing you this hard-hitting, in-depth reporting.
Okay, yeah. I'm looking at chat, and I ran this, about the informants, but it looks like y'all want to talk about the trafficking, which I'm really happy that you want to go that way. Actually, I can look up if you want to talk more about that. Let me. We can do that too. We can start talking about that. Yeah. Well, why don't I do that? I can go. I'll find something. I know I have. Just give me a second because I got them bookmarked. Things that I was going to run anyway. So. Just give me a short second. Okay, I'm not sure what this one is. Oh, that's it. Let's see. Yeah, it's a good, it's a good subject, and I've been wanting to do it, and I've been getting ready, and going to be starting something next week. But if I can find it, I can run some of it right now. It's just I got a lot in here. Yeah, once you know, I can't find it now. Well, I got to clean some of that up here. I know what I'll do. Okay. Okay, let's see. I gotta make sure. Well, let's just see what the CBS will say about this. Or CBC. Okay. All right, well, I'll go CBC. Yeah, we'll see what they. Okay, here we go. I might get shut down on this.
The overall number of Aboriginal female homicides and unresolved missing Aboriginal females in this review totaled 1,000 181.
They're not missing. They're not like so many misplaced keys or your wallet or your sunglasses. These women and girls were stolen.
Lori, when was the last time that you saw your daughter?
Well, she went missing on the 6th of September. It's a Saturday. And the last time I saw her was a Friday.
What do you remember about the last time you saw her?
Well, my goodness. I had gone to my mom's because I had to drop off her pot. And Maisie and Shannon were there. They were mowing my mom's lawn. And I hugged her and I kissed her and told her I loved her and I'll see her later.
At what point did you realize that she was missing?
On the Sunday. We didn't hear from her all weekend. And the Sunday, my mom called and asked if I heard from her at all. One of us. And so alarm bells went off because we couldn't get a hold of them at the apartment. And come Monday morning, we called the police.
So the weekend was supposed to be a kind of fun one for Shannon and Maisie, your daughter, and they were going to have a sleepover and hang out together for the weekend.
Yeah, and they'd done it before. It wasn't anything unusual.
What happened when you called the police?
I was at work, and my mom came to work, and we called the police from there. And that same evening, they came to my house for a report. And that was it. Nothing was done. Because the police assumed that the girls had ran away.
What police force was it that you were dealing with?
I was dealing with the Gonzibi Police Department, and Shannon, Dad, was dealing with the SQ in town.
And this is more than just a detail, isn't it? That I'm asking you about the two different police forces, because this came to be a problem for how the investigation, to whatever degree there was an investigation in the early days, how it was conducted. Is that right?
Well, there wasn't an investigation at all for the girls. We as a family had to do many things on our own. You know, I gathered friends and family, and we went searching around the area. My friends with their boat took me, and we rode the river from where they were last seen at the school dance. People were walking in the bush. Maisie's aunt contacted Search and Global Rescue 1 to come and do a search. And they had to be invited by our community police in order for them to come. So we made sure that happened. And the community services were a big help when Search and Global Rescue 1 did come down and do their search the right way. But even with that, we knew it was too late because so much time has passed.
At what point did they finally do that search?
About 3 months after.
Wow. And we know that in the first hours, even, if not days, is the crucial time to be investigating.
And even with the first few hours, nothing was done.
Why do you believe that it was not possible that they ran away?
Because I know my daughter, and that's why we worried, because she hasn't called home. And even if Maisie were to run away, which, you know, sometimes I have this great hope that she did, because that means she's still out there somewhere. But for me, it's not possible, because I know my daughter. And once, you know, the media got a hold of the story and their pictures were all over the place, she would have called home and said, "Stop it, I'm fine, I'm just not coming home, but I'm okay." She would not put our family through that.
So you told that you're based on your own gut feeling because you know Maisie, but whether there's any other evidence, anything else you could point to the police to indicate that it's unlikely that she was a runaway?
For my daughter, you know, she's a smart cookie. You know, I mean, running away takes planning. And Maisie and Shannon, the two smart girls, would have collected money, and they left all their ID at Shannon's father's, and their purses behind. Something is not right, and something went wrong there somewhere.
So even if it's possible that one of the girls could forget to take things, both of them leaving everything behind, it doesn't, for teenagers, seems
Yeah, and not only that, you know, it wasn't much money, but Maisie had about $6 in her purse, so if she was going to run away, she would have took that money.
And what happened when you told the police all of this?
I'm sure they knew, but they didn't do very much about it. You know, chief of police said that they were runaways and to call home. And it wasn't until I did pushing and more pushing that things needed to be done. Well, I'm not sure how it works, but the SQs took over the case or was working with them on the case. But now I have this wonderful investigator who is in constant contact with me. He doesn't call me every week, but he at least calls me once a month, you know?
But in 2009, the Sûreté du Québec said that they had evidence to suggest the teens ran away. We have no indication of foul play. They stated that in 2009.
Well, if they had evidence, they couldn't prove it to me.
They never showed you the evidence they said they had that she was a runaway.
No. And I asked.
Do you think police make assumptions about Aboriginal women when they go missing?
Yes, I do. I mean, it happened with even our own community police here. Assumptions about, risky lifestyle or, which Maisie never lived a risky lifestyle to begin with. You know, I really don't like to assume what they thought, but how they reacted and treated our family showed a lot.
And that's even your own community, your Kitigan Zibi police were the same?
Yeah, because not once did they call me. And when I asked them that, they said, well, why should we have to call you? You know our phone number. That's what I got told.
What do you want people to know about Maisie?
Oh, my goodness. You know, she's, Maisie's, free spirit. You know, she's all around great kid, and she loves her family, and oh my goodness, it's so hard it's not hard to describe her, but it's just too hard because we love her and we miss her every day, and that she's not here with us, you know, and we have to live through that as a family, and to move on without her is hard to do every day, you know. I don't know where I would be, honestly, if I have other children, and no means do they replace her, but they kept me together because I know they need a mom. Like I said, she loved her siblings, and she was very hard-headed, but she's also very compassionate, and there's so many things that my children miss about her. Maisie would always play with them. You know, Maisie was the one who did all the birthdays and, decorating to everything, and to make it special for her little brothers and her sister. They just miss her presence.
And what do you miss the most?
I just miss having my arms around her and holding her and her smile and the way she smelled. That's what I miss most about her, is having her in my arms.
You mentioned that there is this new investigator. We know this since the end of February. There's even been a roundtable convened to look at this larger issue of missing and murdered Aboriginal women and girls. Does that give you any hope?
No, not really, because even with the roundtable.
Yeah, and that's one thing I gotta say too. And Terry's talking about out there. Cy, we had Cy and his wife in a meeting with, and they're going to be in on this too. And Terry and Rory are going to South Dakota for a week, and they're going to learn what's going on, trying to learn some stuff, and be looking around and stuff. And are you running some shows from there too, Terry, or what you going to do? You going right to Rapid City, or what you doing? Anyway, I think they're running shows from there, at least one. But that's a good thing that they're going out there. They're going to try to learn some things. We're going to try, like I said, and you know, Rory, he's boots on the ground. He'll go wherever he needs to go. And Terry's going to be right there with him. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to keep this going now. We are going to do interviews with different people for sure. Yeah, that'll be. Yeah, that's you're doing a good job there, Terry. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's time this, this stuff gets out there of what's really going on. It's an important issue. It really is. And it's not just in Canada, it's in every state of the United States. It's everywhere. It's worldwide.
The feds had a pre-agenda going in there. Some positive came out of it because each province, said what they had to say. And I know each province is going to get support about raising more awareness against violence and all that good stuff. But for the families, there was still no justice. A lot of the families want an inquiry. And like I said, they went in there and there was already, pre-agenda. When asked about an inquiry, they hid behind the agenda. This is what we're here for. This is what we're talking about. And that's all we're talking about.
You don't want just justice. You want answers at this point. You're not even at the justice point.
No. For Maisie, being out there and knowing what's going on in this world is very scary.
Thank you, Terry.
I remember sitting here watching the news not too long after Maisie went missing, and there was a little boy in Ontario that ran away from home. And we were very envious of the support that this family got. The media, search and rescue was there, the police were there, the community all gathered around this family, helicopters, you name it, which is a great thing. Don't get me wrong, every family deserves that, but we don't get that.
It was for Brandon Crisp.
Exactly. The outcome was very sad, but the amazing support that family got was something that all families go through, crave, but we don't get that. There was no support from media. There was no support from our police. There was no support for our family. And, I wasn't the kind of person to think of, being First Nation and white. There was a difference. I never wanted to believe that because that's not who I am. But they just proved that to me, being treated differently. And yes, I believe it's because we are First Nation. You hear stories every day about someone, a woman going missing. And the first thing you hear from the families is that they have no support and that they need help. And that's something we don't have, and that's something we should have because we deserve that too.
Larry, I hope you get answers about Maisie and that you're speaking out will help others get the support that you think that they need and that you've heard that they are not getting.
And thank you for thinking of us, our family, for this interview.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Just one of many sad stories. Where I'm starting, I'm going to be in Arizona too, but I'm going to be starting right here in my backyard, like I said. And there's 3 people I'm going to be doing from right here, like 10 miles from me. One of them, the mothers I know, and she's been gone now a couple of years. And there's two young boys, and I'll be doing them too. And that'll be my first stories. And then I'm going to Arizona though. There's some stories that need to be brought out in Arizona also. And Terry is working really hard on this. Terry and Rory and Cy Ray, and it's going to be, and Cy Ray understands it very, very well of what's going on. He's very intelligent about the trafficking and the Native American trafficking. And so we feel it's one of the priorities that need to be brought out into the public. And when we get into the trafficking, we're also there's drug trafficking that goes along with it. They're doing both. It's the same people involved, and you can almost figure out who some of these people are if you just look through the country and look at it's billionaires that are controlling this shit. That's, in my opinion, allegedly, my opinion. Everything stated on here is opinions, of course. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. We kind of got away from, and that's we need to bring out. There's so much that goes on in this world nowadays. We need to bring out, like, the confidential informant crap that the law enforcement is doing, and these young kids are ending up dead because they're trying to climb the ladder, trying to get the bigger people. That needs to end. You can't have 16, 17, 18, and I'm saying even up to 21, 22. Knock it off, knock it the hell off. And why they're not being held accountable is beyond me. When these kids do die. And even that, they might be getting sued. That's something I haven't looked into. They might be getting sued by these families, but that doesn't bring back their son or their daughter, and we don't know if this is involved with the Idaho 4 case. We don't know. We don't know if, like, Kaylee found out something. I mean, what'd you tell Adam? I told him everything. We don't know what that was about. We see it on the video, but we don't know what they were talking about. They're going to get you girls for that, Maddie. We don't know. And I did report. Do you remember the shows I did? The one show I did about there's a main international port in Lewiston, which is like 30 miles away or something from Moscow. It goes that far inland. They have to do something like a couple times a year or something, or once a month or whatever it is, to keep it open. But they do that. They do that because it's a major port. It's a major port that far inland, and it's only like 30 miles away from Moscow. 30 miles away from Moscow, Idaho. So, and when I first got involved in true crime, and I ended up on Rory's show, and what did I say? It's a hub. That place is a hub over there, and you can tell by the way things are happening. And if it's a hub, yeah, there'll be law enforcement on the take. There will be law enforcement on the take. There's no doubt in my mind. In my opinion, allegedly. Yeah. Yes, it has, Miss Macy. It has gone bananas. Yes, move forward. The kids say what they are told to say, thinking nothing will happen, and end up dead. Sad. Yeah, and that's what's happened. That's exactly, Moonflower. No doubt about it. good to see all these chatters in here tonight. I just wanted to come in and I wanted to run a short show on the informants, the confidential informants, because I mean, if you just go look up sometime, confidential informant college kids, and look and see how many deaths there's been in states all from the East Coast to the West Coast. Taking advantage of and manipulating these younger kids because they get busted with a little bit of marijuana or whatever, and they turn them into confidential informants to snitch on higher ups, and then sooner or later you run into cartels and you run into the Aryan Nation, like what happened over there. Just like a month and a half after the unalivings. Huge bust, the biggest bust in the state. Yeah, Thomas, I will. If they remove this video, I will contact the news station and have it ran. Yeah. If it's made it this far, I think I might be okay. But then I'm going to be playing some music, some new music. I haven't tested yet, but they usually make it, so I just have to take out the music part of it. So whatever. Lenore, trucking comp. Well, here's the thing, Lenore. Yes, there's many. That's the problem. Is there's probably many truckers involved. Maybe not just the trucking companies, but anybody that drives a truck. It doesn't even have to be the company. It could be a solo driver that owns his own truck or does his own thing, or one that drives a company truck but does this on the side. I mean, that's what's going to make it. That's what makes it hard. It's like that kind of stuff. But I think people need to be more aware of their surroundings in this world. They need to be more aware. I mean, these people are disappearing, and what the fuck? Why aren't other people seeing this going down? All of a sudden they're gone and they're missing, and you never see them again. I don't know. Crazy. It's just, this world is not the same world I was raised in. It just isn't. Yeah. So, but anyway, I think I'm just gonna, I wanted to do a short video tonight. I don't want to go too long. It's an hour now. I don't want to go off on no 3 hour video or something. Then I wanted to say hi to my crime family. Anyway, we got a lot of chatters in there too. But I'm glad, Terry, thank you for bringing that up about the new channels and stuff, because, and thank you, crime family, for the interest, because that's what it's gonna need. Oh yeah, no doubt about it, Terry. Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, I would not say anything. So anyway, you guys are awesome. Yes, you are. And I'm going to leave you with a couple new songs just for my crime family. So anyway, my subs, you have my heart, and my mods are my soul. Until next time, rock and roll.